Hey there guys, this is Biz and I'm here to give you some tips on how to avoid common mistakes I see when I'm playing Hearthstone. So if you can't seem to get out of the Golden League or are struggling to have a positive win-loss ratio, I hope this video comes as some help to you. Let's get started. Tip number 1. Look for the green. Hearthstone does an excellent job of reminding you to attack. If your minion is highlighted in green, it can still attack. Also, be sure to look at the end turn button before ending your turn. If it isn't green, you can still do something like attack or play a card. However, this doesn't mean you should always play a card just because you have the mana for it. In the scenario going on in the background, I determined it was better for me not to play a card until turn 2, even though I had the mana for a card on turn 1. To determine whether or not to play a card, follow the upcoming tips. Tip number 2. Don't waste your spells or weapons. I know it's tempting to hit your opponent with a spell right off the bat, but try to resist. You may need it for an upcoming enemy minion. As you can see, I could have used arcane missiles to open, but chose not to just in case he played a 1 health minion next turn. I know you all love to deal damage, so to help ease your cravings, you can give him a swing with your weapon, but only as long as you retain 1 durability to use on an enemy minion. Of course, if a spell or weapon results in a lethal blow, feel free to ignore this tip. I'm just gonna watch the Pyroblast kill that guy. Tip number 3. Pay attention when silencing. I know this one seems kinda like common sense, but I oftentimes see players silencing the wrong minion. For example, silencing a Defender of Argus does absolutely nothing. You can't silence a battle cry because it's not a constant effect. It is the buffs created by the battle cry that need to be silenced. And as you can see, my opponent played it correctly in this game. Tip number 4. Don't play a minion that will surely die. The exception to this rule is in the case of a preferential trade. It's okay for me to play a 2-1 minion because the opponent has a 3-2 minion. However, it would not be okay for me to play a 3-2 minion if the opponent had a 2-1 because then he would get the preferential trade. And finally, tip number 5. Board control is more important than health. This is the most common mistake I see. If you can kill an opposing minion without losing your own, you should. The only exception to this would be if your minion has taunt. I still usually trade with my taunt creatures, but that's just a personal preference and isn't usually necessary. And those are my top 5 tips to improving in Hearthstone. I hope you find this video helpful, and if you did, share it with your friends. If I missed something, feel free to leave it in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys next time.